Yo, what's good? How are y'all doing? Welcome back to another 5 Minute Friday. It has been a minute. It's been several months since the last time we had a 5 Minute Friday, but I'm resurrecting it and I'm really excited about who you're going to hear from. The person you're going to hear from is Dr. Jennifer Caudle. She was the guest on episode 133. If you haven't gotten a chance to take a listen to this episode, this is a really good episode because she's talking about what it's like to be a very busy TV medical consultant. I'm talking about whether you're looking at CNN, Fox News, HLN, whatever channel you're looking on, she's probably been on that channel, talking about medical issues that affect you, that affect the public. And we got a lot of great feedback on it. But as you know, for 5 Minute Fridays, I like to talk about fear. I like to talk about insecurity, the things that hold you back from becoming a doc outside the box. Now, she's going to jump on the hot seat and she's going to take us back to early childhood. And she's going to let us know about the early lesson that she learned about fear and how that has been able to help her move past so many different difficult situations and shine on the other side. This is going to be a good one. And I got a little homework assignment for you. I want you to share this episode with someone who you know is sitting on the fence, someone who you know refuses to take that first step, someone who is just half stepping. Let them know about this episode. Let them hear about this. And then also leave a 5-star review. Let me know what you think about the show. All right. Without further ado, I present Dr. Jen Caudle with 5 Minute Fridays, Getting Past Fear. Let's get it.
So I think fear, procrastination, those are things, and so many other things are so common. I think the first thing that I think often hard for us to realize is that we're not the only ones who may be intimidated or scared or fearful or worried. And so I always say for anyone out there listening who feels any of those things, we're not the only ones. But fear for me has always been very, I don't want to say touchy subject, but an important one. Fear, my father said something when I was really young and it never left me. And it was when I was going out for baseball tryouts. I wanted to try out for Little League and, I went out and tried out for Little League and I was completely in over my head. I had this love for softball and baseball and really hoped to be able to move up. And when I got out there to audition, I completely choked and I felt humiliated. I felt embarrassed. I felt disheartened. And I remember my father saying, as I was contemplating not going through with the tryouts and sort of in this paralyzed state, he said, fear is not a good enough reason to not try something.
I love it.
And it sounds so simple, but it's this idea that, fear itself is not a good enough reason. And I'm not saying that makes things easier for me. I still get scared all the time. But it does help me to remember that if I'm going to avoid doing something or decide not to try out or interview or audition or apply or whatever, there's going to have to be a better reason to not do it than fear. And I think into my adult life, something that's really helped me kind of get through that and get past that is, I'm still fearful on a daily basis. Let's just be clear, first of all. I mean, there's something that intimidates me or scares me on every day, right? That's called life. But for things that I really don't want fear to take hold of, I actually will kind of force myself to do them before I have a chance to say no. In other words, if it's a class that I want to take or sign up for example, my trainer, this is a simple example, but one of my New Year's resolutions was to get healthy. And this was actually before it started, I guess a few months ago. But I was actually afraid I wouldn't stick with it. I was afraid that I wouldn't do it. And one day when I was feeling gutsy, I called up the trainer who I wanted and I paid in full an 8-10 week session all in advance just to make sure that I went. The idea is that sometimes, I did that because when your money's on the line, you show up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And sometimes with fear, we have to do the same thing. You literally have to fill out the application and send it in before you have a chance to think about reasons why you shouldn't. You got to make the call. You got to send the pitch. You got to approach the guy or the girl. You got to do this or that before you have a chance to talk yourself out of it. And sometimes dealing with fear, I think, is as simple as really kind of pushing yourself through it. And then afterwards, taking a moment and saying, okay, well, how do we do? So I think the biggest things with that, just to recap, is that fear is very normal. We know as physicians that fear is an important part of keeping us safe, right? It's a natural mechanism. But for many things, fear isn't a good enough reason to not do them. And, find your strategy for dealing with it. Mine has simply been almost to force myself into it before I have a chance to say no. With the Miss America stuff, I talked about being in pageants in the podcast. I was not a pageant girl. And I literally almost had to just sign on the dotted line before I thought about it. Because if I really had thought about it, I never would have done it. And I would have talked myself out of that and so many other things. So, I always say, commit before you have a chance to get out of it. And you'll understand that fear is very, very real. But if that's the only reason you're not doing something, it may not be a good enough reason.
Hey guys, if you really enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more coming. Make sure you hit your subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. And also at the same time, leave me some feedback. Let me know what you think about this clip, this segment. I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.